This is Jeanette Keynes from Jewelry Arts Inc., also known as Dr. Goldsmith. This is part one of how to fit a bezel down into a shank, how to get that curve, and how to stop suffering so much. So I just want to show off this beautiful piece that Sara's making. Fitting a bezel down into a shank is something I get tons of questions in Dr. Goldsmith and also just in class because everybody wants to do it. It's a great look, but it can be fraught. So first, I'll show you. I'll let Amy come in closer. Look at that sexy little diamond right there. So basically, Sara made a lovely tight bezel, which is, of course, always step one. And then another thing that I want to point out, everybody wants to get away with not soldering the ring shank closed. They're like, well, I'm going to cut it open anyway. Well, guess what? You don't have a rat's chance in hell of getting your ring to be the right size unless you solder it closed. So just so you know, Sara made this lovely ring band. As you see, we soldered it shut. We kind of cleaned it up a bit, made sure it is the right size. And then what I did was low tech but effective. I put this on top of here with a Sharpie. And as you see, I just kind of marked it on both sides on the outside. Now that's not where we're going to cut it, because if we did, the hole would end up being too big by the time we get done, right? So basically, I marked these lines, giving ourselves a little bit of room, and Sara just sawed through them from the inside. You know what I mean? Chop, 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 chop. Now, this is fitting a bezel down into a shank. Like, maybe it sounds simple, maybe it doesn't, but it isn't. It's not simple, because really you have two totally different directionality issues to deal with. You've got the curve of your bezel, which you need to match, right? The curve there. But then if you look at the ring from the side, you need the opening to also be straight up and down. And it's a lot of things to look at. So like, if you're struggling with this, do not like feel bad. It's not fucking easy. So like, I was like, okay, Sara, I'm going to take you through, like, this is how we're going to do it the best and easiest way. So now that she sawed out this part, now we're ready to like put our shape in, put that curve in to match our bezel. And a lot of people want to use a burr for something like this. Now, if you've had a lot of practice and experience using the flex shaft and burrs and stuff like that, then you know what? Great. Get a burr, go in there and go crazy. But usually what I find for most people, unless you've spent a lot of time really developing like your hand control, right? That using a flex shaft, it's faster, but it just means you'll fuck it up faster. One slip and you get a big gouge. You know what I'm saying? So what I usually recommend to people, if you don't feel super confident with that, just start with a file. It's slower, but you'll learn the hand control. You know what I'm saying? And then eventually, if you want to move on to a faster way, it'll actually be faster. Okay? In the beginning, it's not. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not good. So then the only other thing is this. Usually what I do, right? I need this to be straight up and down, the angle. So the easiest thing to do is put it in I'm going to use an engraving ball, but you could just use any kind of like vise and clamp it in there, because at least then the ring is straight, right? So then all you have to concentrate on is your hands and the file. So I'm going to put it in here. And look at it from the side and make sure it's straight up and down. Except for first, I'm going to do something else. So when we're filing this, we're going to be going in here with this file like this, right? You know what I mean? Pretend that I'm holding this perfectly straight. We're going to be doing this. What are the odds that I am not going to poke the bottom of this ring shank? Oh, I don't know, 500 or 600 times. 100% are the odds you're going to hit the bottom. So normally what I do before I put it in there is I'm just going to take a couple layers of tape. You could put some jet set in there. You could do anything. But like, you will slip. You will go too far. Like, of course you will. Nobody has that kind of absolutely perfect hand control. Most of the time, I'm like, the difference between me and someone else, maybe my hand control is good, but like, I know that things will go wrong, and I like buffer myself. And believe me, it took me a while to, because I'm like, I won't do it this time. It's like the whole, like when you're going to set and you're like, I won't slip. You know what I mean? That's not a thing. It doesn't matter what you do. Do you know what I mean? You can use tape, you can put some jet set in there, like, but I'm going to put a couple layers of this in there and then clamp it in. And that way we're not, because then that's what happens is then you pull it out and it's like, happened, right? I mean, no, it happens to everybody. I am not smarter than anybody. It's just happened to me before. So take advantage of that. You don't have to have it happen to you. You can just take my word for it. Like, don't do that. There is this weird thing too in the beginning where you somehow always put it on yourself. You know what I mean? Like, why don't I have perfect hand control? Everyone else can do it. Like, no, they can't. You know what I mean? It's hard. Right? So that should be fine. I just did, like I said, it really doesn't matter what you do. Put something in there so that when you inevitably hit it, it's not going to leave a mark on your metal. Okay, I'm going to put it in there and look at it from the side and really align your opening straight up and down. Because like Sara and I were talking about this earlier, if you don't have something straight to work from, you don't have a rat's chance in hell. You know what I mean? Like, because what Sara was doing before, she was just holding this. And I'm like, you can't do that. It doesn't work. No one can do that. Or maybe someone can do that. That someone is not me. And I don't teach people also to do things the hardest way possible. I like to teach people to do things the easiest way possible, right? Because fuck that. Life is hard enough, right? So if I look at that from the side, to me, I believe this looks, you know what I mean, aligned and straight up and down, okay? Right? And then you squeeze it nice and tight. And like I said, this does not require an engraving ball. You can literally just use any kind of vise that you clamp it in there, okay? Because now all I need to worry about, you know, is this, right? You see how you can do this and you can keep yourself relatively going straight up and down because I can see this wiggle. You know, if you see this happening, you know, and then look, if you usually what I do too, you notice how I'm like bracing my hands. Because what I'm going to do to start, like, do I know that this half round file is the perfect curve? No, and it probably isn't, but we're going to get at least pretty close and then make little adjustments. And here's the thing too, like, guess what? If you're like, you know what, I use a burr for that, then great, use a burr, but do these steps. You know what I'm saying? Get it in there nice and straight and whatever, because a really common thing that happens, even if you get this curve right, is that the opening kind of tilts back or this way a little bit, and then you're trying to fudge it in there. Blah, 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 blah. Everybody knows what I'm talking about, right? It fucking sucks. So, like this, get it straight, brace your hands, you know what I mean? And you can just go like this. So here's a little update. You see her shape is coming along, and because she's doing it a little slower, she can adjust the size just the way she wants it and get the curve right. And another thing that I was pointing out to Sara is don't clench, go lightly with the file.